You know why those countries have such high tax rates? Because of us. Poor countries can never repay their loans.
Senator, are you saying that you're opposed to debt relief for impoverished countries?
No, we should forgive the debts, but that's not going to help those countries very much.
Okay. What will?
Tax cuts.
Most African leaders or most African politicians say IMF is they have come to help Africa, or they put it like IMF loans is here to help. But IMF has a mission in Africa. It has a mission in Africa, and its involvement in Africa has a most of negative impact. And we will go down on that to see which are these negative impacts in African countries from IMF. First of all, let's listen to the video of this white man telling us the mission of IMF to Africa, and then we go react on it on how we do always. And if you're first time coming to watch this channel, please subscribe on my YouTube channel. If you are returning subscriber, please share my videos, just comment, like, and everything. Support the movement.
Nice idea, but it won't help. It'll just formalize the reality that poor countries can never repay their loans.
Senator, are you saying that you're opposed to debt relief for impoverished countries?
No, we should forgive the debts, but that's not going to help those countries very much.
Okay. What will?
Tax cuts. Some African tax rates are the highest in the world. In Tanzania, the 30% rate kicks in at $475 of income. Plus, they have a 20% value-added tax. It gets added to everything you buy. Those high tax rates make it impossible to build capital in those countries. So nothing gets built, not factories, not roads, not anything. Poor African countries have the lowest wage workers in the world. And yet a company like Nike, for instance, can't put a factory in one of those countries because of the oppressive tax rates. Taxes have killed any possibility of economic development. They've killed any hope of these countries ever helping themselves. And that leaves them completely at the mercy of charity and loans. And here's the worst part. You know why those countries have such high tax rates? Because of us. To show us that they can raise enough money to pay back their loans. But taxes can't raise any money if they kill the economies. So it turns out that the tragic, unintended consequence of our good intentions toward Africa, our kindness, is that we have encouraged those countries to lock themselves into a gruesome economic depression. If we don't urge those countries to cut their tax rates, they will never grow their economies. People will live lifetimes of unemployment. Disease will be rampant. Poverty will be permanent. And children will be hungry. And our charity will never be enough. Never.
Welcome back. Now, as I said earlier, IMF has negative impact to African countries, which the leaders will not tell us, but each and every day they go and look for this loans money. It's just yesterday Kenya was in Washington DC in IMF headquarters looking for billions of money so that they can make Kenya great again. And then after getting the money, they are coming in Kenya and they are imposing high taxes to the people, to poor countries, to poor people of African countries so that they can pay back the loan. It's not bad to impose the high taxes to pay back the loan, but are we getting the services? Are we getting the health services? Are we having teachers in schools? Are we having good roads? Are we having factories that our youths are working? Are we having employment? If we are not having these things, then this tax is a burden to us. But we have these things. We are okay by paying back the loan so that because it has helped us. But because the loan has not helped us, that's why it's heavy on these poor countries, and that's why poor countries will remain to be poor. The people in the countries will remain to be poor. Rwanda, people will remain to be poor. Congo, Kenya, Ethiopia, the people will remain to be poor because they are paying high taxes and they are not getting the services. They are not getting the services from that tax. Kenya went to China, or Kenya went and borrowed money to build SGR. Now we are paying back taxes. We are paying back taxes of this thicker highway. The thicker highway tax, it's okay because it's seen. The railways tax is okay, but it's not okay because the railway was needed to be electric rail, but now it is something else. So we are paying what we are, the service we are not getting at all. IMF is promoting of assertory measures like reduce social spending. The program of IMF often require countries to implement measures to reduce budgets deficits, which can evolve in cutting public spending on health, education, and other social services. You now see how you are being systematically taken to poverty. If you cut cost that needed to go in health system, education system, the budget of education, the budget of health, the other services budgets, security budgets, that means that country won't grow. If the budget of education is being cut down, the teachers will be on the road. The teachers will be on strike. Students will not learn. Now we will produce a younger generation, or generation which does not have education. When you cut cost in health services, that means they want people to die. Because you cut cost in education, the budget is not okay, you get no medical, you get no medicine, you get no doctors to treat in those hospitals. That's why here we are going to hospitals where there's no doctors. Pregnant women are going to hospitals where there's no doctors, no midwives. So if IMF want us to grow, why do they are they involving themselves in budgeting of this money? And budgeting this money, why is it targeting only health, education, the essential services? Why? So this can weaken healthcare, weaken education system in African countries that already face significant challenges in these areas, impacting the primitive population. Do you see that? Do you see that? It increased poverty by cutting subsidies, reducing social programs, prioritizing public assets. The poorest population may feel the brunt of these changes because now you're not getting free education anymore. You're not getting the subsidies. The oil is high. Petrol is high. Food stuff is high because there's no subsidies. This is what IMF is doing in African countries. They just want you to lack of education. They want you to have a population that is vulnerable. They want you to have a population that is sick. They want you to have children that will starve to death. Because if you are giving me money and you are telling me what to do with that money, you are giving me money, I want to start a business so that I can be able to sustain myself. But no, you are telling me, take that money and go buy a packet of unga, packet of maize flour so that you can eat. So when I eat the packet of unga, at the end of the day, I will come to you again to borrow some money. They don't want teachers to fish. They are giving us fish direct. That's what IMF is doing. There's something we call SAPs, that is structural adjustment programs. Okay, this is like for example, throughout 1980s and 1990s, many African countries underwent IMF-led structural adjustment programs, which were meant to boost economic efficiencies. However, these programs often focused on liberalizations, focused on deregulations and privatizations, sometimes leading to job losses, lower wages, and increase in inequality. They want you to have low wage. They want you to lack job opportunities so that you can suffer and die in poverty. They want the youths not to have jobs. They want the youths or the people are working hard in Africa, working hard in farms, working hard in mining companies, working hard to build Africa, but lower wages. That's why you see in Sudan, people are getting low wages. That's what IMF is doing. And you're going to tell me that IMF is good? You see your president running up and down going to look for these loans. And you are like, yeah, he has gone to look for money to build Kenya. Which building you're building? So we need to open our minds and we need to focus as Africans. IMF has done as Africans to depend on exports. We are depending on exports. It has pushed many African economics to focus on exporting raw materials, which can make them vulnerable to price fluctuations in global markets. This emphasis has left some economies heavily reliant on commodities like oil, minerals, or cash crops, hindering diversification and broader economic development. Now, when we depend on these exports, they know what they do. They cut costs. They reduce prices of our raw materials. You see there? When we depend high on these exports, we are exporting raw materials like maize. They make sure the price is as low as $1. They are importing from us with that $1. You see that? But the market price is not like that. But because it's Africa, they are trying to put this inflation of prices on us so that we can continue to suffer and die in poverty as black people. The system, not white people are bad, but the system that their ancestors put there and successors is bad. There's something IMF brought to us. It's called debt dependency. We are depending in money, in debt money. You're just living on loan. Just living. You borrow money. You chop rice. In the evening, you go borrow again. You chop fufu. Tomorrow morning, you go borrow again. You chop gari. Now, you borrow. You are a borrower. You are depending in debts. IMF provide loans to help countries stabilize their economies, but repayment requirements can strain national budgets. Many African countries are trapped in this cycle of debt, where now new loans are needed to pay off old debts. You are getting loan to pay a loan that you buy gari with it. Now tomorrow you go take a loan again to pay the loan that you paid for gari. Are you getting that? This dependence limits government ability to invest in long-term development projects. That's why in Africa we don't have good roads, we don't have ports, they cannot build good education buildings. They're just building temporary, the mabati ones. And they will laugh at us saying that Africa is not growing. But they started this with our forefathers. They were sellout, most of them. And now it's to move out of this debt. It's like we need just a massive change. But the leaders that we have chosen now, right now, the politicians, they are not ready for this discussion. They are not ready to pull out. They just want to dig in. And when you dig in this hole, it's become a total shit. You can't move out. So you are taking debt to pay another debt. That's what is happening. IMF loans often come with conditions that require government to make economic reforms, which can lead to economic vulnerability and limit the autonomy of a national government. They give you loan, they give you conditions. You are giving me loan. I want to bet. I want to put there Chelsea will beat Arsenal head on head, and I'm asking a loan from you, and then you are giving me loan, and you are telling me to put Arsenal, and you know very well Arsenal is going to lose. Why do you want me to be poor? Why do you want me to put my money on Arsenal, and while I know I can win with Chelsea? That's what IMF is doing to us. Another thing IMF is doing to us is called it's limiting economic sovereignty. by putting their policies, giving institution of high degree influence over national economic policies and making important decisions. These affecting everything from the tax policy to labor laws. Okay, so this undermines the ability of African countries to set their own economic priorities. Now we are going with the priorities of what IMF is giving us. We are not going with the priorities of what we want of a leader. We can just get a good leader. He's good. He knows what he wants to do. He has the best interest of the people. But because he has to follow this system of this debt, now we are suffering just because of their policies, the policy influence that they are putting to us. They are not leaving the country to choose their own policies on how to do, on run their business. So when they prescribed their economic prescription to us, it applies similar economic prescription to all countries. The same they want to Ghana, the same they want to Kenya, the same they want to Nigeria, the same they want to Sudan, the same they want to Rwanda. And maybe we have different population, different agendas. Each one knows where the shoe fits or does not fit. IMF has made what we call currency instability. Okay, by making export more competitive, it can cause inflation that hurt local purchasing power, while which impacts people everyday life. Okay, so this currency inflation, most of them is being controlled, or being the policies, the exchange rate policies that IMF are recommending is not good for most African countries. We have political tensions because when you push people to the wall as a president, they think you are the one doing these things, and maybe you are not the one doing these things. Maybe you are following just the policies and the influence and IMF, and you are following the laws that IMF has kept you. But us as the people, we don't know that. Now we are becoming unrest. We started protesting. We started saying Ruto must go, Ruto must go, Ruto must go, Zakayo shuka, ha shuka, Zakayo shuka, ha shuka, because we believe you are the person who are doing these things. You are the person who is killing us Kenyans. You are the person who is killing Africans. Little did we know that you are following orders. That's why we don't want a puppet that will just follow. We want a leader who will say no to these shit policies, who will say no to these IMF policies, who will say no to this IMF influence, who will say no to this and start doing what you told us. In 6 months' time, I'll build a road from Mandera to South Africa. In 6 months' time, everyone in South Africa will have a house. In 6 months' time, Ghana will become number 1 in Africa. In 6 months' time, these promises that these leaders are giving us, they know it cannot happen because of this influence. Or maybe they don't know because they are not there. Once they are there in power, they're like, wow, okay, the former president was going through a lot. Now you are starting to get thin and thinner, and we are starting to say, Mr. Ruto nowadays, his health is bad. It's because of the pressure. Na ulijitakia mwenyewe. You are the one who want this to happen to you because you don't want to end this circus. You don't want to change. You just want to go with the old system. So we have social unrest and political tension in countries, political unpopularities of some presidents because of this issue of IMF. And that's a design. It's a design to make Africa poor again, because IMF know that when these countries have political tensions, the country cannot grow. And Africa is designed to be poor. So when a country cannot grow, their white supremacy, they are benefiting from us. And that's why we see wars in these countries. And that's what they love. They love wars in these countries so that they can continue exploit in the name of helping our countries. You see what's happening? So you see war in Sudan, war in Congo, war in where it is designed to be like that. The loans are being given to us, and the government is struggling. And while struggling to maneuver to those debts, it's killing its people. The people are suffering. The people are suffocating. The people are not having good meal, good water. They are starving. The kids are dying. And when the kids are dying, the older people are coming out and protesting, saying that this government is bad and the war is revolting. And because the president knows that the government is not bad, he's just following orders, he now put his military on the way, and the military and the people are fighting and killing each other. Now the people are being killed because they don't have guns. I've said what I've said. I don't know what you say on the comment section. Tell me what you think. Do you think IMF is there to make Africa great, or do you think IMF is there to control, to put pressure, to make sure that you are still poor, to make sure you cannot keep your money where it's supposed to be put, to make sure that you don't build good roads, to make sure you don't invest in health, to make sure you don't invest in education, to make sure you don't invest in social services that are essential to the people of your country? Tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. If you are new here, subscribe. If you are not new here, share our videos and leave your comment. Until next episode, peace be with you.